Why, hello everyone, bonjour. My papa and I today were working on a newest invention. He's going to enter it in the fair next year, and he's very excited about it. I told him I think it's for sure to win. I think he's the most amazing inventor in the entire world. He doesn't think so, but I think he's so clever. My prince today brought me a brand new book. It's my story, but it's a little different. I read it and I absolutely love it. And I thought I should share it with you. So I thought, why not? I should use my magic mirror and read it so that everyone can hear it. So I'm going to do that. Here it is. A wealthy merchant lived in a mansion with his 3 daughters. They were all very beautiful, but the youngest, 20-year-old Belle, was pure and lovely of heart. Her sister, in contrast, were wicked and selfish. The merchant eventually lost all of his wealth in a tempest at sea. As consequence of this, he and his daughters were forced to live in a small farmhouse and work for their living. After some years of this, the merchant heard that one of the trade ships he had sent off had arrived back at port, having escaped the destruction of its compatriots. He returned to the city to discover whether it contained anything valuable. Before leaving, he asked his daughters if they would like him to bring any gifts back for them. The eldest 2 asked for jewels and fine dresses, thinking that his wealth had returned. Belle was satisfied with the promise of a rose, as none grew in that part of the country. The merchant, to his dismay, found that his ship's cargo had been seized to pay for his debts, leaving him without money to buy his daughter's presents. During his return, he became lost in the king's shelter. He entered a dazzling palace. He found tables inside laden with food and drinks, which had seemed to be left out for him by the palace's invisible owner. The merchant accepted this gift and spent the night there. The next morning, as the merchant was about to leave, he discovered a rose garden, and he recalled that Belle had asked him for a rose. Upon picking the loveliest rose he could find, the merchant was confronted by a hideous beast, which told him that for taking his most precious possession, after accepting his hospitality, the merchant must die. The merchant begged to be set free, arguing that he had only picked the rose as a gift for his youngest daughter. The beast agreed to give him the rose to Belle, but only if the merchant would return. The merchant was upset, but accepted this condition. The beast sent him on his way with the jewels and fine clothes for his daughters, and stressed that Belle must never know of this deal. The merchant, upon arriving at home, tried to keep the secret from Belle, but she pried it from him and willingly went to the beast's castle. The beast received her graciously and informed her that she was mistress of the castle. The beast had all his servants give her lavish clothing and food, and he carried on lengthy conversations with her. Every night would ask her to marry him, and every night she would refuse him. After each refusal, Belle would dream of a handsome prince who would ask her why she would refuse him. She didn't understand, and she said she could not marry the beast because she only loved him as a friend. She became convinced that the beast was holding this prince captive in part of the castle. She searched and discovered several enchanted rooms, but never the prince from her dreams. For several months, Belle lived in luxury at the beast's castle, having every whim catered to by various servants, with no ends to the riches that were sent to amuse her, and an endless supply of exquisite finery to wear. Eventually she became homesick and begged the beast to return. He said he would allow her to go if only she would return a week later. Belle agreed to this and set off for home with an enchanted mirror and a ring. The mirror allowed her to see what was going on back at the beast's castle, and the ring allowed her to return to the castle if she would turn it around on her finger 3 times. Her older sisters were surprised to find her well-fed and dressed in finery. They were envious when they heard of her happy life at the castle. and hearing that she must return to the Beast on a certain day, begged her to stay another day, even putting onions in their eyes to make it appear as though they were weeping. They hoped that the Beast would be angry with Belle for breaking her promise and would eat her alive. Belle's heart was moved by her sister's false show of love and agreed to stay. Belle began to feel guilty about breaking her promise to the Beast and used the mirror to see him back at the castle. She was horrified to find that he was lying half dead from heartbreak near the rose bushes that her father had stolen from, and she immediately used the ring to return to the Beast. Upon returning, Belle found the Beast almost dead, and she wept over him, saying that she loved him. When her tears struck him, the Beast was transformed into the handsome prince from Belle's dreams. The prince informed her that long ago a fairy had turned him into a hideous beast after he refused to take her in from the rain, and that only by finding true love, despite his ugliness, the curse could be broken. He and Belle were married, and they lived happily ever after. I do love that story, don't you? I think it's a little different from my story. I can't imagine having any sisters, though they didn't seem to be the kindest sisters. But of course her papa was just as devoted as my papa is devoted to me. And I do love roses. The prince and I have a rose garden here, and I love looking at them, and their smell is something quite wonderful. Do you have roses in your kingdom? If you do, I hope you go out and smell them and think of me next time you do. Well, have fun with all of your adventures, and I hope you enjoy all of your books and going in new far-off places and finding different stories to read each and every day. Well, goodbye, my friends. Mwah. We'll see you later.